So I got my first NYC refugee about a month and a half ago, and if these polls are accurate, it looks like New Jersey real estate is about to be rocked again because of what's going on in the city. And just to put it into perspective for you, if you wanted to live comfortably as a single person in New York, you would have to make a minimum of $139,000. That's $70 an hour. To live the same lifestyle here in Jersey, you would have to make $109,000. That's $55 an hour. So that's a $15 an hour difference. Or to put it another way, living in Jersey is 28% cheaper than living in New York. So I got my license back in 2017, and I have always been in a seller's market here in Bergen County. And one of the reasons is because of everything that's going on in the city. So back even in 2017, we saw the price of rentals go up. And that's when we started to see an uptick in people leaving the city, coming here, way before the pandemic. Then in 2018, 2019, we had those SALT changes, right? Those state and local tax changes that basically said the most you could write off on your taxes is $10,000. Now, yes, that affects us in New Jersey too, but it also affected people in New York. And they were like, you know what, let me start going to Jersey. And we saw once again those numbers rise. Then 2020 hits. And in the beginning of 2020, I mean, I'm talking January, the first week of January, we started to see these luxury properties that had sat for a while just fly off the market. And I think that was a combination of the SALT taxes and people who had jobs where they were interacting with China, interacting with the global markets, and they knew what was coming. And then it hit the rest of us, right? It hit the average guy. And in 2020, there was a 237% increase in people leaving the city. 237%. So according to the New York Comptroller, that was 320,000 people who left New York City in 1 year. Now, not all of them went to Jersey, but 64% of them did, right? They went to Jersey, they went to Connecticut, they went to other states if they could work from home, some went to other countries. But to give you an idea, that was 204,800 people that registered, and that's not really like counting kids and stuff, who went to the post office and registered an address change from New York to New Jersey. So that was a lot of people. And that put a tremendous strain on our inventory here in Jersey. Then you go into 2021. So now we're in 2021, stuff is calming down. We still had, once again, according to the post office, 75,103 people go to the post office and say, I'm moving from New York to New Jersey. 2022 comes along, and we have another 126,000 people who leave the city. 2023 comes. That was another 78,000 people who leave the city. And I'm going to tell you exactly who these people were. It doesn't matter what their race is. It doesn't matter what their religion is. It doesn't matter their sexual orientation. It doesn't matter what part of the city they lived in. They were people who we would say are middle class to upper middle class in New Jersey, who have families or wanted to start families within a year. And I was hearing the same thing from everybody, okay? They were people who loved being in the city. That's why they didn't leave initially when the pandemic hit. But they were all telling me the same thing. They were saying that the crime was out of control. It wasn't the city they recognized anymore, that the homeless situation was becoming more of a problem. And they were talking about the city being dirty, smelling. There was a garbage situation. There was rats. I personally didn't go there, but I was hearing the same thing from everybody. And they're like, we want to start a family. We want to come to Jersey. We have no problem commuting going into New York, but we don't want to raise a family there. So then at the end of 23, 24, something different starts happening. And I don't really know if it was people moving back into the city, because now they had, a lot of people said, okay, a lot of companies said you had to come back, you had to return to work, or if it was people from other states moving into New York. But we actually started to see an increase, right? 87,000 people from the end of 2023 through 2004 moved back into the city. Not sure where they came from, but we see, we see a reversal there. Now Q3 comes and we're seeing the internet searches for living in New Jersey, working in New York, a whole bunch of different terms, but basically the internet searches are exploding. They're really looking in Hudson County, Bergen County, and some of those shore towns that are on the railroad lines. So I 1000% believe that if Madani gets in, we're going to have more people coming over from the city, and we don't have enough inventory now. The only saving grace that we'll have, is if people decide, okay, at 5%, I'll put my house up for sale and I'll move. But we have a lot of people in Jersey who have been holding on who want to move. So I don't know where we're getting this inventory. The only thing is maybe more apartments. We're getting really overbuilt now. We have our New Jersey skyline. But this election, make no mistake, if it plays out the way it's predicted to, will drastically impact New Jersey real estate.